Welcome to Soulcie, the shift, the tribe, the movement. May you live your truth. Live from Los Angeles, we come together each day to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, and align with universal law. This is Dr. Erin, live from Los Angeles, and it is a beautiful day. So we come together also as a community in Soulcie, which is basically our vision is to be the number one spiritual leaders community in the world. We're committed to enlightenment, empowerment, and entrepreneurship. We develop world-class spiritual leaders because we truly believe that when anybody awakens, they have a gift and message to bring to the world, and we are on the mission of awakening 1 billion people globally. So let's do this thing. The topic today is mindfulness, and I'll never forget a morning. I have lots of mornings. It's like I think I can really measure my life by my mornings. And I got up and I immediately went and sat down at my desk, and I was like all stressed out. There was papers everywhere. I was like stressed about what I hadn't accomplished and how many sales I hadn't had. And I was projecting into the future of like, this is never going to work out. How am I going to do this? And it was like, all of a sudden, I was able to like have an out of body moment looking and witnessing myself. And I was just like, it was automatic, like, whoa, 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 slow it down. And then it was almost like I was so helpless in that moment that I just went, like I took one breath and went, fuck it. And the point of it was this, it was like, if I can't enjoy this moment right here, I'm completely doing it all wrong. And then like a tornado, all the teachings, all the lessons, all the spiritual principles streamed in. Remember, just stay present. Remember, non-judgment, non-attachment. Remember the miracle of listening in this divine moment, the intuition, the knowing that you have. Remember who you are. And so then the breath came in. All of a sudden I took a deep breath and looked out. And one of the processes when you are overwhelmed that we teach in Soulcie is really going external. So what you do when you're overwhelmed is instead of staying in your thoughts and all the mental stuff, you look out to the world and you become present through your senses. So I looked out and I looked at the beautiful candle that I had on the table, and I looked out at the room, at the chandelier, the beautiful chandelier, and all the beautiful, interior design that was in my office, and looked out the window and saw the sun, and I heard the birds, and I came back into the presence of my desk and saw all the papers that could easily be organized. And I asked myself, in this present moment, what's the most important thing for me to do? And how can I do it and really enjoy it? And so that day was, of course, to get organized, because it was really important that all the overwhelm was coming from disorganization and feeling overwhelmed. And so the most important thing in that moment was to just enjoy the moment, get organized, and become very intentional in each divine moment. So let's talk about mindfulness today. As a spiritual practitioner, that's really what we teach. If you're going to become a world-class spiritual leader, the most important thing is to get your mind right and keep your mind right, which means living on spiritual principle, not just in your morning daily spiritual practice or your evening daily spiritual practice, but really all day long in every breath and in every way. So for me, mindfulness is really staying present to living on spiritual principle. So let's break this down. What does it mean to be mindful, and how do you live in that state? So mindfulness is funny that they called it mindfulness, because I feel like it's the opposite, because oftentimes we identify with our minds, with our thinking, with everything. And for me, mindfulness is really letting go and detaching from the brain, from the mind, from our thoughts. And it's coming and practicing the presence is really what it is. So what does it mean to practice the presence? Number one is there's a distinction, which is called being the observer. So it's almost like you pretend like you are observing your life as if it's like a movie, right? And you observe the movie, and you can observe your thoughts. You're not your thoughts. You're not your beliefs. You're not the circumstances of your life. And so when you begin to just observe it and become fascinated and not have attachment to it and not judge it, you can simply observe it and know that you're not the effect ever of any of it. Basically you can explain what the observer is by explaining what the observer is not. The observer is not, in a frantic state wishing you were somewhere else. There was a kind of a famous cartoon years back, and I think it had like a guy in bed with his girlfriend, and it had a little thought picture of him wishing he was golfing while he's laying in bed with his girlfriend. And then the next picture is him golfing and having a little thought thing that shows him wishing he was in bed with his girlfriend. And the point is that if you're really mindful and becoming the observer, you're really super present to here and now. Because from a spiritual perspective, there's no past or future or whatever. There's really just right here now. And even science is proving that the mind can't multitask. The mind is powerful, and the mind directs energy. And it can direct a bunch of energy if you flip-flop all over the place, but it's not going to be very powerful in directing energy. So becoming present right here, right now is super imperative in becoming a spiritual practitioner and becoming someone who's powerful and someone who's really enjoying life. And isn't that the point of all of it? So, practicing being present. If you're in the past, you usually have regret or, something around that. If you're in the future, we say you have anxiety or could have, you could have depression in the past or future, depending if you're not hopeful of the future. And so when you are being mindful because you're present, you're right here, you're right now, you are in your senses, and you are intentional of what maybe just may be that you're present, that you're so intentional about being present that you're focusing on the breath, or it may be that you're working on a specific thing and you are being very intentional to stay in that presence. So being mindful means you don't pick up your phone and be reactive every, 10 seconds. You stay intentional. You stay intentional of right here, right now, and you observe and see, what am I creating and what's the effect of what I'm creating right here, right now, in every breath and in every way. So mindfulness is really being present. It's being present in and practicing the principles we teach, which is basically, realizing who we are. We're not our bodies. We're not our thinking. We're not our beliefs. We're not our, thoughts. We are divine spiritual beings. And so recognizing that and recognizing the power that be of our cause and effect of everything we think and everything that we do and everything that we are, meaning that it's all identity. We practice non-judgment, non-attachment, and we really practice the power of directing energy upon mind. We practice knowing that we are here to direct energy. So what are you directing in this divine moment right here? Right now you're listening to a podcast. Your intention is to expand your mind and to learn and basically embody wisdom. That's what you're doing right now. And I don't know, maybe you're doing 100 other things while you're listening to this podcast. And my invitation is to not. Maybe you can be walking while you're listening to that, but maybe you can't clean a house and get your emails while you're listening to this podcast. You're not really going to absorb it. So why are you wasting your time? You know what I mean? Like, why not do one thing super powerful? Why not, right? So again, today is about becoming mindful. And there's many different spiritual practices. There's meditation, there's visioning, there's doing prayer and affirmations and all kinds of things. For me, being mindful is all the time. It's all the things. You're being mindful right here, right now. And if you can practice this, it becomes a muscle that can build exponentially. Being mindful is a practice. At first, you're going to try and do it, and you're going to notice, just like in meditation, your mind wants to take you to the future, it wants to take you to the past, it wants to take you to your cell phone, it wants to take you to social media, it wants to take you all over the place. So mindfulness is constantly coming back to the present moment. And as you do this over and over and over again, it's going to become second nature. It becomes automated. All of a sudden, you are just here and now. And all of a sudden, you get lost in the vortex of now. And that's where we say there's like a time tunnel. There's a vortex that happens there. You can collapse time and you become very, very potent and very, very effective in what you do. You can walk into a social gathering and sit and have a conversation with another person and actually have one of the most powerful, beautiful connections ever because you're so present. We've all been on the other side where people aren't present. They're wandering off and they're looking across the room while you're talking to you. There's a saying in self-development, you're not listening, you've never listened, and you will never listen. Because generally when people are listening to you, they have their own thoughts, their own judgments. They're thinking about what's in it for me. What am I going to say? How am I going to respond? What do I think about this? They've got judgment. They've got, attachment of where it's going, all that stuff. So the point is to be really present and to be an amazing listener is where miracles happen. And that's actually the greatest thing of becoming a spiritual practitioner. The greatest gift that you bring to your client is your consciousness, your pure consciousness that is clear, it's quiet, it's present. It is here to just hold sacred space and hold miracles. And if you haven't been able to learn how to be mindful, and you haven't learned how to clear out and realize and just observe and be the presence, then you're not the best spiritual coach. Your work is to get out of your own way. Your work is to quiet your mind, to complete the trauma, to do the work, to practice the principles, so that when you do show up with a client, you are able to do the miracle of listening. And that's where miracles happen, is in the presence and holding sacred space. And that is really what mindfulness is about, is being able to hold that presence in your daily life and be able to create miracles and be able to live in a state of joy, a state of divine presence, and really get that this moment is the most precious miracle moment we have. If you take a look right now at your hands and you take a look out at your room or wherever you are, and you think about the miracle of right now, the trillions of years and cells and things that have had to come into existence for you to experience this moment right here, right now, and taking a breath in and exhaling out, and knowing the perfection and the beauty of this moment. And so in this today, universal law is the law of harmony. There is a divine order to this universe. To the extent to that you create harmony is the extent to which you will experience free will. There is a standard we have created that demands that we must create in harmony to be unbound. The universe is constantly guiding you towards a harmonious life. Through freedom of choice, you can arrange things in such a way as to set in motion a series of causation that will harmonize with your own conditions without antagonizing like the power of others. And so today the practice is practicing being present. Today's practice is to be present. Practice staying neutral to what does or does not occur today. Practice observing people's viewpoints, perceptions, and belief systems. And if you do feel reactive today, remember you're not your beliefs, thoughts, or emotions. You are the creator of them. So do more of your inner work. Practice observing your internal mind chatter, bring your mind back into the present moment. And finally, practice non-judgment and non-attachment today. So in this divine present moment, I know perfection, I know power and I know purpose. May you have a beautiful day and may you live your truth. Thanks again for tuning in to Dr. Erin and Soulcie podcast. I'd like to invite you to write a review on iTunes. Also, I have a free gift for you, a money meditation and worksheet, which you can find at soulciety.com. That's www.soulciete.com. Or 30 guided meditations at drerin.tv. That's www.drerin.tv. We also hold monthly Soulciety events that are all about transformation and building extraordinary community. You can also watch me live daily on goodmorninglalaland.com or Instagram at drerin.tv. Grab your free manifestation masterclass with the purchase of my international best-selling book, Awakening, a 40-day guide to unleashing your spiritual powers, life purpose, and manifesting your dreams at erinfallhaskell.com/awakening book.